to talk to you a little bit about how to be more self-sustaining in this time. So one way that you can do that is by growing seeds and growing your own vegetables. And it's really not that complicated. So I'll talk to you a little bit about my mix that I use to get seedlings started that I've found is the most successful for us. And why. And then also I wanted to show you, so this was previously our fodder system. So in the winter, when we have a lot less greenery to give to our rabbits, we grow fodder. And if you want to learn more about how to grow fodder, check out our fodder video. In the springtime, we turn it into a gravity-fed seedling area, and it works really beautifully. This is actually the second round of our seedlings. So what I do is I mix a third of each thing. So a third of worm castings, which really gives a lot of nutrients for your new little seedlings to feed on and just makes them really strong and healthy. Secondly, I put in coconut husk, which helps keep it thoroughly drained, because you can actually overwater seedlings. You definitely want to keep things moist, but you can actually potentially drown seeds pretty easy if you're just using an all-purpose mix. And then thirdly, I use peat moss. So that's three things: worm castings, coconut husk, and peat moss. And the peat moss just helps keep the moisture locked in there, but also helps drainage as well. So that's my mix, and I've used it now for about 4 summers, and I just really love it. And as you can see, we've got a lot of seedlings going, so it's successful for us. However, if you don't have access to these things, what can you do? Here's a good tip. So you can use all-purpose potting mix. You can use mixed with that some peat moss. Peat moss is really great. So you can leave the coconut husk out. It is a little bit pricier. The worm castings are just great nutrients, but a lot of all-purpose soil has some nutrients built in. So if you can't get those things or you can't afford those things, don't be deterred. Keep trying. Do what you can afford and what you can do. If you don't have access to any of that, I would say try to find a spot in your yard where you feel like the soil is really rich, and then find a spot that's a little bit sandier. Mix those two together. If you have access to like some leaves or some wood chips, mix that in. That'll still give you nice drainage. Okay, so a couple other quick tips if you're newer to this. I definitely always recommend saving as much as you can if you do mix in some things from the greenhouse, which I highly suggest. Mix some things in from your local greenhouse, grow your own. If this overwhelms you, then go to the greenhouse and get some plants, because even that is helpful. And I really like to label everything. And this just happened mostly because when we first started growing things, we were doing so many different things and I couldn't always tell them apart. So here I have 6 kohlrabis, I have 6 beets, right? I have 6 turnip containers. So that's how I do it. Last year, I actually even wrote the dates that I wanted to have them planted by, because I was working full time, which I'm not now, and this is great because I have plenty of time to watch these and get them out. But if you are trying to balance a lot of things, I highly suggest writing dates on them. Go to your Google and check out which growing zone you're in. So all you have to do is type in your zip code and it'll tell you your growing zone, and you can find all kinds of awesome charts that tell you when to plant things and all that. All right, so I just wanted to show you what you can then do with your seedlings once they get big enough. So this is just a really beautiful box that Carl built for us. It's with pressure treated wood, which is a little more expensive, but it is rot resistant and really weatherproof, and so we'll have this for 20 plus years easily. If you can't afford the pressure treated wood, then you should just paint it or stain it, and that'll help sustain the longevity of the wood. And then over top we've got our cattle panel here, which actually we just bent with the tractor bucket, and then we've just draped over, because our sun is so bright here in Oregon, we've just draped over some shade cloth, and then we just hold it on with little binder clips. And this shade cloth actually we've used for a couple years now, so it's pretty durable, but you can easily get a roll of it, and it's great for greens. Alright, so we took the top off just so you could have a bird's eye view of what's going on in here. And just so you know, what we use to hold that top on are just screws. We have 6 screws, three on each side, and that just kind of holds that in for you. Okay, so I just wanted to show you right over here. This is a good size to bring your seedlings out. So as you saw, some of my seedlings are close to this, some of them have a little while to go yet. But all of these plants, when I brought them out, were about this size. And so this is what's happened in about a month or so. And you can see we've got some spinach here, some curly kale, and then we've got our Swiss chard. And what we do to prevent anything from eating it, especially earwigs, is we actually use neem oil, and it's totally organic. If we don't, clean the leaves quite enough, if we ingest it, it's fine. If the dogs get it, it's fine. And we've just found that it works really well for us. And just in the bed, I'll just tell you, we kind of mixed in, we've got some all-purpose soil, and then with that we've mixed in some sawdust and then some rabbit poop. So we utilize a lot of our rabbit poop and our llama and our sheep and our goat poop for all of our beds, and it's just a really great way to build up the soil. So I hope these tips really help you guys out. I encourage you to try gardening. It's not as hard as it looks. Don't be intimidated by it. If you have questions, please leave comments and we'll try to get to those and help you guys out. If you like what you're seeing, click subscribe. If you want to know whenever we're releasing a new video, click the bell, and then you'll have a ding ding.